Welcome to the seventh webinar of our monthly Mindfulness and Menopause webinar series, where we explore how mindfulness can be used as a tool to help cope with some of the symptoms of menopause. Skylar Griessel is here as our mindfulness mentor to talk to us today about mindfulness and nurturing self-compassion. Unfortunately, during the menopause journey, our mental resilience is tested and can sometimes lead to feelings of inadequacy and other complicated types of emotions to navigate. But the good news is there are ways to cope with this. My name's Kim Fancher, and I will be your host today. And also with me is Skylar to get us started on this important topic. Hi, Skylar. How are you doing
Hi,
today?
Kim. I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thanks for having me again. I'm excited about this one.
Yes, me too. I'm anxious to learn a little and practice a lot.
Yes, ready to get started?
Yes, let's get her going here.
Okay, let's do it. Well, thank you again so much. As Kim mentioned, my name is Skylar Griessel. I am your mindful mentor today. I'm not a medical doctor or clinical professional, but I am certified for yoga and meditation practice, among a couple other things. So this whole mindfulness and menopause series is really about using mindfulness practices to cope with some of the symptoms and side effects of menopause. As Kim mentioned, menopause brings a whole bunch of challenges. We've talked a little bit about sleep deprivation and hot flashes, and today we're getting into the emotional side of things. So throughout this series, you can always expect a little bit of science and then a lot of hands-on mindfulness practice. Today in particular, we are doing a lot of practice. So you can go ahead and put pencils down. I'm going to give you a little bit of information and we'll do a lot of hands-on practice today. Remember, there is absolutely no wrong answer when it comes to mindfulness and meditation. The only bad meditation practice is the one that you don't do. Now, that said, remember, I'm not a clinical doctor, so you always want to consult your medical team before making any changes to your exercise, your diet, or your meditation or medication routine. Meditation, you can probably kind of cultivate that for yourself. Throughout this series, we've talked about a lot of really wonderful topics, things that may relate to you and maybe not. So I encourage you to kind of go back and look at some of these recordings and go ahead and pencil in the dates for our next presentations. We'll give those to you at the end. Today, we are talking about nurturing well-being. And this really gets into the emotional health side of things when we talk about menopause. Kim said it beautifully that just our mental resilience becomes very challenging through the menopause journey because of the fall of estrogen, but also because of a lot of other life changes that are happening naturally to us, things that we have to deal with, challenges we have to go through. So I'm so excited to take you through some of my very favorite mindfulness practices today, affirmations, and then a reflection practice through one of my favorite mindfulness tools. So today you're going to get a lot of things that you can keep with you and take with you in your toolbox. The best part about mindfulness is that it's free. It doesn't take any kind of special tools or gym memberships or anything, and you can do these ones anywhere. So before we jump into the full content, let's settle in. If you haven't already, pencils down. Go ahead and take your hands off the keyboard or the mouse, kind of roll the shoulders away from your ears, and find a comfortable seat. I invite you to put one hand over your heart. One hand, two hands, whatever feels comfortable for you. Maybe it's over the shirt. Maybe you're lucky enough to get skin on skin. Wherever you are, close your eyes. Now just breathe. That's all you've got to do for the next 30 seconds or so. Just breathe. Taking a deep breath in and taking a deep breath out. And continuing that beautiful pattern of breathing. Noticing yourself breathing in and noticing yourself breathing out. Now with that hand on your chest, feel the physical sensation of breathing. As you inhale, feel the lungs expand, feel the chest fill up. And as you exhale, notice how the chest falls as you push out all that stale air. Take at least 2 more deep breaths. Settling into this space, letting the mind catch up with the body. Notice yourself as the one here and now, as the one who is being present. Let your breath be the anchor that connects you to the present moment. One more full deep breath. Inhale and exhale. Now, if your eyes are closed, I invite you to slowly blink them open. You can go ahead and take the hand off your chest whenever you're ready, and you might even give the body a little wiggle. That's always allowed through any of our practices. I'm going to tell you why we do that. Not only is it a good idea to kind of shift mentally anytime we're going from one task to another, deep breaths kind of help us do that, but the physical act of putting your hand over your heart has a lot of positive benefits. One article from Berkeley actually said it made us more honest with others. So putting the hand over the heart, usually we do this if we're making a promise to someone, or we're asking for forgiveness or admitting to a lie we told or something. Putting the hand over the heart may actually make people more honest. There's science to say that it lowers cortisol levels. That means it reduces stress in the brain, something that we see often coupling with other side effects of menopause. So it reduces stress. It releases oxytocin, those feel-good kind of chemicals in the brain, and it promotes feelings of safety, trust, belonging, calmness, and contentment. So there's your first tool. One thing you can take with you and do almost anywhere if you're feeling a little stressed, a little anxious, a little depressed, you can give yourself some love today. That's really the theme of this whole presentation. There are lots of other actions we can do that promote a similar response, lower stress, increase oxytocin increase oxytocin and serotonin. Making eye contact with someone, or even making eye contact with a pet, usually helps us feel good in the brain and in the body. Sharing a positive emotional experience, so joy shared is doubled. Holding hands with someone, having that physical touch or physical contact seems to evoke some positive emotions in the brain. And you can also hug yourself. Now, this might feel a little silly, but anytime you're a little stressed out, you might just grab onto those shoulders, give yourself a little love, especially if no one else is there to do it. Who's going to do it for you? This is another way we can release some feel-good hormones in the brain. So moving through this theme of positivity today, we've got to talk about the emotional effects of menopause. You'll see two lists on your screen here. One list is kind of the typical negative emotions, and I really want to avoid labeling these as negative or positive. These are just things we experience as human beings. A lot of women report feelings of depression and anxiety, and those are typically the most studied emotions when we talk about side effects of menopause. But through readings and through personal experiences, although I haven't been lucky enough to go through the menopause journey myself, I do know lots of people who have been there. I hear things like frustration, irritability, confusion or brain fog, fear, guilt, shame, some of these kind of icky things that we don't always like experiencing. And then there's this other side. Last time we talked about menopause being kind of a journey of awakening, this period in our life where there's a lot of clarity and there's lots of perception shifts about where we've been and where we're going and who we are. And that can actually cultivate a lot of positive emotions like self-love, self-acceptance, that clarity or clairvoyance, letting go, perception shifts and gratitude of appreciating where we've been and where we are, happiness, contentment, joy, a sense of peace. A lot of these emotions come up in menopause as well, so it's important to notice those. There will be feelings of depression and anxiety, just as there have been through other challenging journeys in your life, but there will also be feelings of self-love. And the really cool thing is we can use mindfulness to cultivate and enhance some of those feelings of self-love. We also want to acknowledge that there are some other things going on in our life, right? Menopause isn't the only factor happening. Maybe you're dealing with financial challenges at this later stage in life. Maybe you are a caregiver or you're no longer a caregiver. Maybe parents are moving in or kids are moving out. Those are huge life changes that definitely affect your mood. Maybe there's a job change or you're moving and there's a location change. Maybe somebody's getting married and you're involved in the wedding planning. These are all stressful things that influence our mood and our emotions. So let's not be too quick to blame menopause for everything, but let's be quick to use some of the tools we have, regardless of the root of some of the emotional side effects, using the tools to cultivate some of those positive things and kind of diminish the stress, anxiety, and depression, because we know it's just not good for our health. Rolling through this, I want to just acknowledge that this is normal. So all of the stress, the frustration, the brain fog, the self-love, the sudden bursts of energy and joy, the lack of sleep, the night sweats, yes, unfortunately, these things are normal. This is all part of the journey. Now, this is different for everybody. Some of us are lucky enough to never experience a hot flash. Some of us are unfortunate and we develop extreme insomnia. All of these menopause side effects are normal to you and your journey. They are unique to you as an individual. So coming at it from that perspective, instead of the why me, this is only happening to me, come at it from, wow, I'm so unique and I'm lucky to be experiencing these things, even if they are challenging. So let's continue and move on, and just remember, give yourself that self-love. We're not going to get into too many heavy topics today, although I know there are lots of heavy emotions that may be associated with your mindfulness journey. I'll give you some tips on kind of how to process those things. The main practice today is all about affirmations. So I'll kind of go through what that means. We can affirm a lot of thoughts in our head. If we have a thought, we either say, yes, that's true, or no, that's not true, without even thinking about it. Now, the challenging thing is that human beings are very good at highlighting the negative. It's why we have survived for so long. You know, we come from an ancient time where we really had to think about what's going to get me, what's going to kick me out of the tribe, how is my survival threatened right now? Now, the brain really hasn't developed much past that. So even though something may not be life-threatening, it can still produce a stress response. Tips for today's practice include self-love. That is the theme. Today is all about self-love and not about criticism. So as we go through this, I want you to experience every emotion, every feeling, every rise of an unusual memory or experience. Just experience those things without judgment. And I'm going to say some affirmations today, like I am, or I feel, or I believe. Some of those things may be challenging based on how we're feeling. I don't want you to beat yourself up if you think, wow, that's not true for me and I'll never get to that place. Open the mind up to the possibility that it could be true, and then move on. No judgments, no criticism today. And in terms of no judgments, I want you to avoid labeling any thoughts or emotions as good or bad, negative or positive. Today, they just are. You are human, and we're not going to push down or repress any of the memories or any of the feelings that come up during a mindfulness practice or during any other experiences in our life. The last thing I want you to remember is that mindfulness is all about the present moment. We are connected to the right here and the right now. Even though we're going to talk a little bit about our journey and our experience and where we've been, it's all about cultivating gratitude and appreciation for where we are in this present moment. Now, moving into our practice, you've probably heard of affirmations. They've been around for quite a while, and I think they really became very popular during the pandemic when most of us were struggling with a little bit of depression and stress and anxiety. Affirmations, today, we're using positive ones. Affirmations are positive statements that we say to ourselves to alter our thinking patterns that influence emotions. Now, there are lots of benefits. According to the Cleveland Clinic, affirmations can help build self-esteem and replace negative and anxious thoughts related to stress, depression, anxiety, and even physical pain. There's a lot of science around that as well. I mentioned that in the brain, every time we have a thought, we either confirm or deny it. So today we are really highlighting positive affirmations. When we think negatively, we can affirm critical thoughts of ourselves. So instead of saying, I'm so stupid, right? That is a negative affirmation. We're going to change it to a positive and say, I can learn from my mistakes, or I continue to grow and develop, or I am learning every single day. I am growing in every area of my life. Avoid those negative thoughts. And today's just about noticing them. Remember, no judgment. We're not going to beat ourselves up for having those very normal, very human negative thoughts. We're just going to flip them and practice a little bit of positive affirmations. If at any point you have questions, or if anything feels a little uncomfortable, a little struggle, and you have curiosities about those, feel free to pop them in the chat. We're about to enter into our practice. This is a series of slides, and all I'm going to do is just read them to you. They are short little statements, and that's usually all an affirmation is. It might just be a 3-word sentence like, I am confident. I am powerful. I am at peace. So find a comfortable seat. Relax the shoulders, loosen up the jaw, check in on the physical body, kind of relax the neck. Take a deep breath. Anytime we enter into a mindfulness practice, it's always nice to take a deep breath and really kind of connect to the present moment. Noticing yourself breathing in and noticing yourself breathing out. Be open to the following statements. And even if they don't feel true for you right here in this moment, be open to the possibility that they could be true for you. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Now, if you're comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes. And after I say each one of these statements, you are welcome to either repeat it out loud or in your head. Here's your first affirmation. I am at peace with my past and my present. I love the person I am becoming. I am worthy and deserving of all good things in life. I am special and unique. There is no one like me. I love myself unconditionally. Continue to breathe. I believe in myself completely. I let go of all toxic energy that does not serve me. I am patient and kind with myself and my progress. I am comfortable being myself. I am enough. I always express my thoughts and opinions with confidence. I am becoming more sure of myself with each passing day. I love and respect myself. I am confident. I am not scared to assert my opinions, wants, and needs. I trust in the decisions I make. Everything works out perfectly for me. Everything that is happening around me is happening for me. I am immune to negative thinking. I am a strong individual. I naturally overcome personal challenges. I am constantly improving in every area of my life. I feel a deep sense of power and possibility within myself. I am the kind of person who is always learning and discovering. I am kind and patient with myself and my growth. I focus on the positive aspects of my life. I choose to let go of negative mental self-chatter. I am free of self-doubt and self-sabotage. I choose not to take things personally. My self-care is worth making time for. I set and assert healthy boundaries with others. I honor my intuition and use it as a guide. I choose to let go of what I can't control in my life. I am committed to my emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual health. Take one final deep breath in. Exhale out slow and controlled, and let go of anything that no longer serves you. Now, as we bring this affirmation practice to a close, of course, we'll offer a little bit of reflective practice. So, as we finish this meditation practice, notice what you feel in yourself. What emotions came up for you during this practice? Now, was this helpful? Was it more helpful to say things out loud or in your head? And if you are watching this live, I appreciate you just being flexible and understanding a few interruptions. Speaking of things out of our control, I apologize. Through the rest of our affirmation practice, what do you notice about the physical body? Some folks who do affirmation practices notice the reduction of stress can promote a relaxation physical response, maybe a dropping of the shoulders, maybe a loosening of the jaw. For me, I always notice it in my hands. When I'm stressed, I might make little fists or even just wring out my hands. When I practice affirmations, I notice they're light and open and relaxed. That's personal for me. And then how are you feeling now in this present moment? Anytime we do a meditation practice, it's always good to kind of check in and just see how we're feeling. It's good to name those emotions, but remember to name them without judgment. Even if you're feeling a little sad, inadequate, guilt, shame, any of those things that we typically label as bad and we don't want to feel them, welcome them into your life. Know that they are natural emotions that we experience as human beings, and know that this practice is scientifically proven to promote feelings of enhanced self-esteem, feelings of well-being, of belonging, of connection and calmness. There are a couple ideas around affirmations and when to use them. The time of day may be valuable for you. Now, for me, I find my affirmations are best in the morning, and there's science behind that one as well. When we first wake up in the morning, the brain is producing theta waves. Consider theta waves as like very influential. If we start the day with positive affirmations, probably pretty likely that we're going to have more of a positive outlook on that day in particular. But the science behind it also says that when we do positive affirmations in the morning, we're communicating through those theta waves to rewire and reprogram the brain. So that very natural, very human way of thinking, the negative, what's out to get me, what do I need to be stressed about, what's a threat, we're reprogramming the brain to say, what do I have to be grateful for? What do I have to appreciate? What is there to love about myself today? You know that consistency is key. So the more often you do this, the more you're going to notice those things in your day, in your life, and within yourself. You heard a lot of different action verbs. Traditional affirmations usually begin with I am, right? I am powerful, I am confident, I am strong, but I challenge you to get a couple different action verbs in there. And you heard some examples today. So you might say, I feel safe, I feel confident expressing my opinions. You might say, I believe in the power of positive thinking. I believe that things are working out for me. I cultivate strength within myself. I cultivate self-acceptance. You might also say, I observe all the good things happening in my life. I observe and appreciate the resiliency I have in challenging situations. You might say, I see that things are working out for me. I see things in my life that make me happy and bring me joy. You might also say, I protect my sense of self-worth and self-confidence. I protect my own opinions and thoughts because they are valuable and important. I challenge you to get some other action verbs in there. And the last thing I'll give you is a theme. There are so many affirmation practices out there. If you are using a podcast app or a music app or a video playing platform on the internet like YouTube or anything else, you could type in affirmations for and then any word after that, and I guarantee there's a practice out there for it. Affirmations for financial stability, right? I am financially stable. Money comes to me easily. My bank account is overflowing. These are all affirmations for financial stability. You might have affirmations for letting go. I let go of negative thinking. I let go of what is out of my control. I let go of what does not serve me. You might think of confidence or self-worth. Affirmations for finding peace. I find peace right here in this present moment. I am cultivating peace in different areas of my life. Find a theme, and it doesn't always have to be the same every single day. I encourage you to kind of test out and try out different kind of affirmation practices. I think apps and the internet are really good places to do this, but it might also look like a journaling activity. 3 affirmations, writing those down in a book every single day, every single morning will definitely have a positive impact on the brain. The last little idea that is not on your slide is actually putting an affirmation in print somewhere in your life, somewhere in your house. A lot of people like to put them by either their bedroom door or their front door, a place where they're going to see it quite often, maybe the bathroom mirror or next to the coffee pot. This is a popular spot today, I apologize. So you could print one of those out and put it up on a place where you will see it. And you can kind of remind the brain to practice that affirmation throughout the day. Switching gears here, we're kind of moving from affirmation practices to reflective meditation. And I'm actually going to use one of my favorite platforms for this meditative practice, so you don't have to listen to me talk anymore. One of the beautiful quotes from this practice today is, to love ourselves is to know how to love. To love ourselves is to know how to be loved. I told you earlier the theme of this presentation is self-love. Consider that the root of your garden, the main mother root of your garden that's going to sprout all these big, beautiful flowers and nourishing fruits and vegetables in an endless, boundless garden of your life. A reflection practice helps us appreciate the journey. Typically, reflection is a little bit about where we've been, appreciating the journey and having gratitude for all the experiences that led us here to this present moment. Steve Jobs has a great quote that says, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. You can't connect the dots looking forwards. And I know that's true in my life. I look back at experiences here still in my 30s and I think, wow, I really wish I appreciated that more. Or I really wish I was a little less stressed and I just enjoyed the moment a little bit more. So that might be true for you. And again, that's very human and very normal. Reflective practice is a good way to help teach us to enjoy the present moment. Reflection also helps us recognize what is within our control and what is out of our control. For example, the feelings, emotions, and actions of other people are not your responsibility, nor are they within your control. So reflection can help us let go of those things and really take responsibility and action and appreciation for what is within our control, our own feelings and actions and emotions. Reflective practice in general is an act of self-love. The root of reflection lies in self-love. No one else has lived your life. No one else has had the experience that you have had, and you are on an individual journey completely unique to you. That in itself is a beautiful thing, and it is worth celebrating. So we create a personal power completely unique to us when we practice reflecting on the goodness in our life. I'm going to switch over to my platform, Insight Timer. This is a wonderful platform for any kind of mindfulness and meditation. It is not the only one out there, and no, I'm not affiliated with them in any way. Other apps and platforms you might use include Calm or Headspace or even just YouTube. Insight Timer is free. I'm going to bring it up now. This particular reflective practice is actually labeled as a menopause reflection practice. So as I pull this up, you might find a nice comfortable seat. Take a deep breath, relax those shoulders, loosen up the jaw, and you see that this is a full 10 minutes. So get yourself comfortable. If you ever need to wiggle and adjust, feel free, and I'll let this beautiful lady take it away.
This meditation for menopause begins with a reflection on our own self-worth. It's an invitation to sit back, listen to the words you hear, and listen to your own inner voice to see what she says in response. At the end of the reading, there will be some time for quiet reflection and some guided breath work. How do we evidence our own worth to ourselves? How do we stop ourselves from qualifying the way others see us, from making assumptions about how worthy they think we are of their energy, their attention, their investment? What are the internal blockers we need to remove with tender hands in order to see ourselves the way others see us? And of course, if when they see our full self, barriers down, they decide that perhaps we are not for them, how do we stop ourselves from instantly erecting the borders once again to stop us ever being rejected by another? Of course, we cannot stop that. We can never stop another person from acting, thinking, feeling, whatever they wish. We can try, of course, but ultimately they are their own person, just as we are ours. So if we cannot control them, what can we control? We can make efforts to control what they see of us, or we can control how much of ourselves we reveal, or we can present one part of us to one audience and another to another. We can divide ourselves into 2, 3, 4 pieces, adapting, distilling, distorting ourselves into the image we believe others want to see. Or we can be just that. We can be. We can believe that what we are is who we are meant to be. And while we may grow and shift and change as we come to inhabit our full adult self in our full glory, it does not mean that we morph into something we are not in order to squeeze our rounded self into a square-shaped hole of another's imagined making. There is a truth here, that if we are not the right fit for another in this moment, whether that's for a job, a relationship, or whatever the connection may be driven by, then that is a two-way choice. We are not selected or rejected. It's either the moment or not the moment. We are neither better nor worse than another, and the same is true for them. The only way to know if what we present, who we are, feels right in the moment is when it feels right for us. Listening to the clear voice within that tells us others have the right to make their choices. And it's always best if we have a full, clear picture of what we are choosing, so there are no moments down the line when we wish we'd made a different choice. If we present ourselves to be something we are not, we are saying that others don't have the right to see us as we are. If we present ourselves as something we are not, we're saying we don't have the right to be who we really are. Do you choose to deny another of their rights? Do you choose to be denied of your own? Taking down the barriers is an act of faith and an act of belief that others are able to see the world with compassionate eyes. And if the place they're in right now means that they cannot, then you have a different choice to make. Do you wish to contort yourself to fit that blinkered gaze? Or do you wish to stand in your own light, unfettered by another's constraints? In the end, we all desire to be seen. But how can we be seen when we hide ourselves away? Being seen is trusting that we are worthy. And the journey begins with us. Valuing our own self, acknowledging our own worth, stepping away from the false safety of comparisons, assumptions and contortions is how we become visible without walls. Settle now. Be with your breath. Be with your inhale just as it is. Be with your exhale just as it is. Come down now into your belly and feel how alive your whole body is as it sits here in calm repose. Simply breathe. Bring a sense of your own compassion to yourself as you sit here now. Recognize all of who you are. Perfect. Human. this feeling of calm with you into whatever the rest of your day holds. Know that to love ourselves is to know how it is to love and how it is to be loved. And with that, we are able to love others fully too.
Take one final deep breath, friends. So let me know how that felt in the chat. And if you're kind of opening your eyes, maybe you blink them open and kind of experience your environment with some fresh energy. How did that feel? Anytime we do any of these mindfulness or meditation practices, it's always kind of nice to reflect at the end. And I know I might be a little bit of a broken record there, but I ask you these questions in order to get you to say, oh yeah, that did feel good. Or, oh, that was good for me. Or, oh, I do notice my shoulders are a little further down my back than they were before. My jaw is a little bit looser than it was before. And then the next questions on this list, like what emotions came up for you during that reading and that reflective practice? There were lots of big themes in there, like the others having the right to see us as we truly are and accepting ourselves as we truly are and not, I love this word, and not contorting ourselves to fit somebody else's opinion or expectations. Reflective practices typically have a theme around that. And just as I mentioned earlier with affirmations, you could probably go to any of these mindfulness platforms and type in reflection for blank and find a practice around it. Reflection for menopause, reflection for self-love, reflection for confidence, reflection for gratitude. So I encourage you to kind of explore. Always make a little note of how you feel, and please always experience those feelings without judgment or the need to alter anything. You are a human being. You have a wide spectrum of emotions and feelings, and all of them are valuable. There are other things on your screen that I just wanted to include as ways to practice self-love. Now, I'm going to categorize all of these as mindfulness practices as well, like daydreaming, going for a walk, lighting a candle, making your environment kind of cozy and nice, and just doing things that you enjoy, doing some kind of cooking or creativity, your movement or stretching. All of these things can be mindfulness practices, and all of them are forms of self-love. So maybe it doesn't always look like sitting quietly and meditating, and maybe we don't always have the space for that. I encourage you to find other mindfulness practices that work for you. As we kind of start to bring this presentation to a close, I want to invite you to type up any other questions you have in the chat. And I also want to apologize again for things that were a little out of my control today. I'm in a shared space environment, unfortunately, and there were a few sounds that just had to become part of our practice, and hopefully they weren't too distracting today. So my apologies, everybody. And I just want to express such gratitude for having the opportunity to do this. And I hope you give yourself a little gratitude for just showing up and doing the work today. Kudos to you. So thank you so much. I'm looking in the chat. Kim, any questions for me?
Yeah, and Skylar, our gratitude to you and whatever space that you're working from. So thank you so much for that. And I like that you remind us that mindfulness practice, it can be done anytime and anywhere, and that we just need to be sure and take that time for ourselves. And as you say, give yourself a little love. I love that saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to walk the walk, definitely. I have a couple different affirmation podcasts I listen to, and I really try and listen to them in the morning or if I'm in the car on my way to work. And I continuously put my hand over my heart. Sometimes I need a little extra serotonin. So now that I know that this is a little life hack for that, I do this multiple times throughout the day.
Perfect. Yes. And the old saying, stop and smell the roses. And that really is true, just to kind of, take that moment to be present in whatever it is that you're dealing with. Although I like to smell
Yeah,
my herbs, I'll go outside and go walk around my herb garden and smell my
that's
herbs
so
instead
good.
of the roses.
Yeah,
But
so good. So I hope this is encouraging for folks to really feel powerful and confident through this journey, and just know that all those emotions and feelings that come up are normal, whether it be a chemical reaction or the result of a life experience. You are a powerful and unique and wonderful individual, and all your feelings and emotions are valuable.
very good, very good. I do have a question about, from an affirmation standpoint, if they don't ring true, is this kind of like fake it till you make it? Or, should I
Mm.
pick positive affirmations I already believe and use them instead?
Good question. I think there's a little bit of truth to fake it until you make it. But, as someone who's experienced anxiety and depression, man, if I'm having an anxiety attack or I'm really in a depressive state, me trying to over and over again say, I am happy, I am confident, can actually have kind of the opposite effect. So it's totally normal, and it's totally okay to recognize that within ourselves. Sometimes an affirmation is just, I am present, I am breathing. I am doing the best that I can. So I'd say if something doesn't quite ring true for you, maybe just break it down and make it a little bit simpler, and be okay with that, right? Maybe we're not as confident as, pick a celebrity or politician or something. Maybe we're just right here, right now, as we are in this present moment. It's all about being okay with where you are. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, very good. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. How
Yeah.
do I add affirmations over time to help me, internalize those things that are positive, but which maybe I'm resisting believing in them?
Well, you know yourself better than anybody else. So I would say get real honest with yourself and find an area where you know you have to improve. Like my example earlier, and this is true for me too, is I'm so stupid, right? That negative affirmation in my brain that's just, again, very human, very normal. I get real hard on myself. I've got feelings of inadequacy, and sometimes those are the thoughts that are happening in my head. So the first step is always just recognizing it and just, oh, there's that negative thinking again, and then flip it. So the more consistent you can be with the recognition, the easier it's going to be to flip those things. But through this practice, you're going to notice those thoughts that come up over and over again. So that I'm so stupid, that's something that just pops up in my head all the time just because I'm a human being. And I flipped it to, I'm learning from my mistakes, or every failure is an opportunity, or I view challenges as opportunities. So I've always got a couple affirmations in my back pocket to combat the negative thought in my head that comes up most often. So it might be different for you, whatever the negative thought is. Find the opposite of that, turn it into an affirmation, and say it continuously, either throughout the day or in the morning, every single day, and it'll get easier.
Very good.
Hmm.
Um, so, I know every day is probably a good thing, but really how long and how frequently before I begin seeing benefits from this type of practice?
Ooh, good question. I'm going to say that's different for everybody, right? Always the same answer. The affirmation practice does not have to be long at all. It doesn't have to be out loud. I mentioned you can just have an affirmation maybe on a sticky note on your bathroom mirror, and just the act of reading it is just planting that little seed in your brain that, hey, maybe you're not so bad, and maybe you're actually pretty confident and pretty cool. Your practice can look as simple as that. Now, if you wanted something a little more in depth, maybe you sit and just find a nice comfortable seat and practice 5 minutes, 10 minutes of affirmations a day, whether you're using an app or saying them out loud. That might be a longer practice. I'm not going to say that's going to give you better results. I don't think any of these, I don't know if there's like a dosage for time spent practicing and the biggest bang for your buck, because it can also look like journaling, or prayer is another way we kind of find affirmations. Maybe in the morning you just write down 3 little statements. I am confident. I am viewing challenges as opportunities. Everything in my life is happening for me. That could take less than a minute, and then you go on with the rest of your day. So there's no strict timing around affirmations. I'd say just find what works best for you.
Okay. All right. I don't see any other questions out there for us. So if we want to go ahead and begin wrapping up here today. Okay. And I want to just kind of mention some things coming up. We here at Positive Health really want to leverage the power of these types of webinars and podcasts to promote the messages out there in regards to menopause journey, and trying to provide some good resources and help for people. And so coming up in the month of October, in celebrating World Menopause Month, we have a 4-part series on mindfulness. And so Cheryl Jones is going to be joining us each week to talk about different aspects of mindfulness, and also providing a practice. So be sure to sign up for those sessions. I'm sure they're going to be really, really wonderful. And then we'll wrap up the month of October here again with Skylar with a mindfulness mentor webinar, and where she's going to be focused on reconnecting to the body. All these webinars can be found at our positivehealth.com/webinar site, where you can enroll in each of these. And then we have podcast series going on as well. And our next one that will be released is in regards to herbal medicine. So on October 2nd, that one will be released, and our clinical herbalist friend, Kay, will be talking about how herbal medicine can help address some symptoms. So you can find that podcast and all the others in this series at our positivehealth.com/podcast site, or you can subscribe through Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. And then we want to invite everyone, if you're not already a member, or maybe you know someone who could benefit from this type of service, but join our pilot program that we have going on through the end of the year, December 31st, where you can get some services to help provide that holistic one-stop digital health experience while you're going through your menopause journey. And you can sign up for the program at positivehealth.com/membership. And finally, I want to mention that we have a wonderful community out there, and it's easy to join in on that and laugh and talk about experiences with others in this community. So if you want to get more information on this, you can email us at info@positivehealth.com.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that wraps it all up. And thank you so very much for your time today, and all the wonderful ways that we can provide ourselves some self-love and be grateful for who we are and what we have to offer.
Thank you so much, Kim. I'm wishing everybody well. You stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thank you.